Hi everyone, Rebecca from the Shipshape Shop again. If you caught that last little one, sorry about that, but priorities. Isn't it funny when you're talking about something and then life serves you up the perfect example on a platter? So I just finished saying that Otis was my priority because he's not been getting much me time or mum time this week because things have been busy, and then right in the middle of a live when I think he's happily occupied outside, up he comes and starts saying, "Mum, mum, mum, what do you do?" I've never been in that position before. That was quite funny. Anyway, he's upstairs with his dad now. But the reason I was talking about priorities was, as I just mentioned, it's been a busy week and I haven't had much one-on-one time with Otis, so that's been the name of the game today. Priorities, actually, I've gotten out a bottle of wine to put in the fridge because I need a drink tonight. I'm looking forward to virtual drinkies this afternoon. What the original purpose of my talk about priorities was, aside from mentioning that Otis has been my priority today, I even wrote that as my intention in my bullet journal this morning. Focus on connecting with Otis and letting him lead the play. He is my top priority. But one of the things that I wanted to mention also on the subject of priorities, was just about to drop that in the sink, is if we're feeling triggered or failure feelings because we see what other people are doing on social media at the moment and feel like somehow we are not doing well enough. So I shared a similar message last Friday, and it seems to have resonated, which is cool. So I wanted to share more along the same lines at the moment, and challenge everyone that's watching or everyone that sees this to really think about what the priorities are at the moment. Because for me today, the priority has been Otis. That has meant that deprioritising keeping the house tidy. So it's a bomb site behind me. There's toys all over the lounge over there. There's nappies that need to be folded, which are washing. We do reusable nappies. There are toys behind me. There are still lunch dishes down here, which you can't see. And I'm sharing this with you because I want to make it really, really clear that the whole point of priorities is that that's the most important thing, right? So when you prioritise something, you are in effect deprioritising other things. We can't kind of go, okay, my priority is spending time with my kids, my priority is my work and my business, and my priority is keeping the house tidy. You can't do all of those things. We're not supposed to do all of those things. So have a think this weekend about what you can prioritise and what you can deprioritise, and know that if you deprioritise keeping your house tidy, then you are not alone. I'm not keeping my house tidy because it's just enough to try and do business stuff and hang out with my kid and spend some quality time with him, even though he's rejecting me quite a lot in favour of going and sitting with his dad and working upstairs in the office. Anyway, those are just my feelings. I'll just share them with you guys. The next thing I wanted to talk about is something that's happening this weekend. So tomorrow morning, Anzac Day, I'll be standing out at my driveway at 6 o'clock. If you've seen that Stand at Dawn movement, I think it's super cool. So I'm going to be partaking out there at 6 o'clock in my dressing gown. And then at 9:40, I'm going to be on Magic Talk Radio talking about decluttering and organising in lockdown, sharing some ideas around how to preserve and protect and store perhaps family memorabilia from war times. So having a bit of a chat. I'll drop in the comments below the frequencies and where you can listen if you're keen for that. That's at 9:40 tomorrow morning on Magic Talk Radio. I'm excited to be doing that. And then what was the last thing that I wanted to share? General organising tips while your family's at home. So I've spoken to quite a few people that have had decluttering goals during lockdown. In fact, I know a number of people are like, yay, lockdown, I'm going to get organised, and have actually struggled because it's not that easy. And this is something that I've always found when I've been working with clients, is that it's much, much easier to introduce new systems and declutter things when you don't have the kids around. And the reason is mainly because they get excited by rediscovering old things that otherwise they would not have missed. But when you're starting to pull it out and they can see that it's on the chopping block and it might be going kaput, then all of a sudden it's their favourite thing in the world and they can't possibly release it, despite the fact that they'd completely forgotten it existed. So if you are having decluttering challenges while we're under lockdown and you've got your family under your home, this is my suggestion for you. Don't try and do decluttering. Don't try and do any organising activities. Instead, put on your curious detective hat and just watch. Observe your family. This is a unique scenario that we're living through in so many ways, but unique because we'll probably never have a chance where our entire family will be living in the house and using the house in the same ways at the same time, where we're trying to work, we're trying to school and educate, we're trying to play, we're trying to relax, all at the same time in the confines of a home. It's really, really unique. And it's happening day after day after day for over a month. For many of us, not for all of us, obviously, we have essential workers. So rather than try and fight against that and keep trying to declutter and organise things and just feel like you're taking one step forward and two steps back, instead observe. Even take notes if you need to, but watch how your family uses the space. Watch what happens. Watch the patterns of behaviour. Like you might notice that little Johnny is fantastic at keeping his bedroom tidy, but when it comes to the communal spaces, he just leaves it in a bomb site, and you're like, why is that happening? You don't need to figure out why it's happening, just be aware of it and watch the patterns, and there'll be some answers in that for you. And if you can't find out the answers, then hit me up with a chat and we can see if we can figure it out together. Or you might notice that when they come home from the bubble walk, little Sarah keeps chucking off her shoes and leaving them in exactly the same place every day, without a doubt. So instead of kind of shouting and causing additional stress and saying, why can't you clean up the common space? Why can't you put your shoes away? Instead just go, that's interesting, and making a little note, and then making a plan to deal with those things once we're out of lockdown, once we can perhaps buy some things if we need to that are going to help us stay on top of those issues. But rather than it just adds additional stress trying to declutter and organise things while everyone's under our feet. That's certainly been my experience anyway with Otis. I'll tell you a funny little story about this Loop the Loop Hot Wheels track. We've had it for about 6 months, and I admit it's been out in the lounge for a good 2 months, just set up, tucked away into the corner by a bookshelf, so it's not a trip hazard or anything like that. And all of us had just stopped seeing it, which often happens with toys and stuff that's lying around. We stop seeing it and it ceases to seem like clutter to us because we literally don't see it anymore. Anyway, I saw this Hot Wheels track and I was like, have I got the container for you? I went and put it into the container, put it up on the shelf, out of way, and Otis walks into the room literally about 3 minutes after I'd put it in the container, put it on the shelf, and he goes, Mum, what's this new toy? And starts pulling it out of the container, and I'm like, that's annoying. Anyway, I'm sharing this with you so you know that that stuff happens in my home too, and instead of kind of beating around what am I trying to say here? Instead of trying to ram it down everyone's throat and saying, you must stay organised, I'm just going, I'll just figure out places for those containers to go once we're out of this scenario. Level 3 is just around the corner, level 2 just around the corner. After that, I'll figure it out then and I'll worry about it. And that's my encouragement for you guys to do that too. So, thanks for sticking around for part 2. If you caught part 1 and the hilarious interruption while I was talking about priorities, and then along walks my priority and interrupted me, I am going to go now, go and rescue his dad who's still working, and continue hanging out with my little boy until it's virtual drinks time, and then Mama's off the clock, guys. Have a great weekend. Lovely chatting with you as always. Thanks a lot.